When they discovered what was inside this alligator's body, they had no idea what they would do. A group of hikers came across something they had never seen before on a hot, humid summer day in the swamps of Louisiana. They heard a huge splash in the neighboring river as they were walking through the dense vegetation. In the tiny lake, a huge alligator that was easily twice as big as any they had ever seen was thrashing around. The alligator had a big bulge on its belly, which they saw when they got closer. The hikers couldn't help but get curious about what was within, as it was obvious that there was something there. What might be contained within this enormous reptile? What secrets did it harbor? Likewise, the hikers were determined to learn the truth at all costs. Nobody could believe what they saw, however, when the animal's body was opened by the veterinarian to disclose what was causing the bulge. Friends since high school, Kevin, David, and Harry enjoyed taking on daring activities together. They were all seasoned outdoor enthusiasts who had a great love and respect for the wilderness. The buddies had spent countless hours exploring the marshes by hiking, camping, and fishing, and they were familiar with every inch of the area, like the back of their hands. They were fearless when faced with a challenge, tough, and resourceful. In addition, they were unaware as they embarked on their most recent journey that it would be the most perilous and thrilling one yet. The men were traveling through a region of the forest they had never visited when they found themselves deep among Louisiana's swamps. They had been hiking for several hours and were getting exhausted. However, the group was resolved to make the most of their trip as usual, and they were intrigued to explore what mysteries the swamps might offer. But, better be careful what you wish for, because this secret might be too much for them to take. They were walking through the dense foliage when they heard a loud splash in the nearby river. They followed the sound, curious, and came across a massive alligator sunning itself on the river bank. It was unlike any other alligator they'd ever seen. It was easily twice the size of a normal alligator, and it had an abnormally large bulge on its body. The bizarre beast startled and captivated the trekkers at the same time. Nothing like it had ever actually been seen before. Kevin and Harry were skeptical, but David persuaded the others that they needed to trap it and discover what was causing the bulge. Kevin slowly approached the alligator, taking care to avoid scaring it. He was relieved when the alligator appeared to allow him to get near to it without posing a threat. He always preferred taking risks and was a more adventurous person. The others were not stunned by his determination to solve this enigma, as he was, and they knew what it would take for him to succeed. Upon his arrival, the veterinarian carefully inspected the alligator and discovered that the apparent bulge was actually a sizable, hard mass that appeared to be attached to the animal's internal organs. The veterinarian was aware that surgery was necessary to identify the origin of the lump and maybe save the alligator's life. There was a piece of an automobile inside the bulk that had been reported stolen a few months previously. As a result of their astonishment, the hikers felt they needed to notify the authorities. They found out that the owner of the automobile had also been reported missing at the same time the car was taken, while they worked with the police to look into the matter. The impression that there was a relationship was unavoidable for them. After weeks of looking, they finally came across a secret cabin hidden deep within the marshes. While they combed the swamps for any evidence of the missing owner, they discovered the missing owner inside, still alive. They shuddered at what the owner had gone through. The owner had apparently been involved in a horrific car accident and had veered off the road into some wetlands. By foraging for food and a place to stay in the forest, he had managed to survive for all these months. The man's tenacity and perseverance astounded the hikers. They were aware that they had to move quickly to get him to safety. After gently transferring the man to a stretcher, they headed in the direction of the closest town. They had a long and difficult road ahead of them, but they were determined to get the man the assistance he required. The hikers struggled against the elements as the water surged past them in an effort to save the man's life. But what transpired next was a real test of their courage and fortitude. The trek was difficult, and they were starting to feel the strain of carrying the injured guy on their shoulders. Every step was a hardship for the trekkers since they were parched and exhausted. They got to the town and hurried the man to the hospital at last, after what seemed like a lifetime. He was badly emaciated and dehydrated, but the doctors were astounded that he was still alive. For finding the lost man and bringing him to safety, the hikers were hailed as heroes. They couldn't help but wonder what other mysteries the Louisiana marshes might be concealing as they reflected on their bizarre and difficult journey. They were confident that they would always be prepared to take on whatever obstacles that lay before them.